So if we see, all this is about authenticity and self-love, and so if we're completely authentic and we see no lack in self, can we see lack outside of ourselves?
Here's what's a little off about the approach that you're making. Rather than trying to come to the conclusion of being the authentic self that you want to be, we want you to make it lighter and just come to the conclusion that you want to be the happy person that you want to be right now.
Okay.
Because in a sense what you're doing is you're willing to learn all this stuff in order to accomplish the manifestation of being your authentic self, and you're making it more complicated than it needs to be. And so really, but here's what you're getting at, and here's the way we will verbalize it back to you. If you care enough about how you feel that you practice it frequently until you are chronically feeling good feeling emotions, once you're mostly there, it will not be possible for you to attract something that feels negative to you in that extreme way that you were doing before. There will always be contrast, but then you'll be riding the meter a little more delicately. So what it comes down to is it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks of you, but it matters a lot what you think about what they think. And the freedom that you seek is the freedom from that care. Because the freedom from that care is the freedom from resistance, and freedom from resistance is the key to your being your authentic self.
Perfect, yeah.
So when I don't give a rip what you think, that's not enough. I have to give an enormous rip about what you think, source energy. Yeah. Because when I care how you think, when I care about what your frequency is, and I tune myself to it, now I am my authentic self. Now I am the unconditional lover. Now I am one who can stand in the face of a moment not being perfect, and I can unconditionally love it because I understand that everyone's on a journey and it's where they're going that matters, not where they are. It's their authentic self that matters. Ooh.
And when we're
now wait.
Okay.
So when I'm my authentic self, then I see their authentic self. And when I see their authentic self, then I uplift them to it. But if I'm not my authentic self, then they may suck me into seeing their not authentic self, and now we're both out of the vortex blaming each other for how we feel.
Yeah, okay.
So who's going to break the chain of pain? Me.
Because
I understand. Because I care about how I feel. I care so much about how I feel that I'm going to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the whole of that which I am. Because I want the freedom of alignment that it gives me. Oh, and the byproduct of it is I'm going to help you out. But if I make the main effect be I'm going to help you out, now I'm looking at you where you are, and now I'm not my authentic self because my inner being isn't looking at you where you are in a resistant sense. Now let's stay here for just a little bit. So does that which man calls God, does that perspective see you where you are? Yes. There is not a consciousness that is looking away. That support is always there unequivocally and eternally. It's just not freaked out. Because Source understands the big picture, knows where you're going, knows who you really are, knows that you have the power to manifest the emotional manifestation, which will then lead to every other manifestation that follows it.
Okay. So by being, Jesus was authentic.
Sometimes, not always.
Not always. Okay. So what's the distinction between, not giving a rip what other people think and having compassion?
Well, this is we like you throwing the word in here. We tossed it in a little bit ago too. We would like to define compassion in this analogy by acknowledging that utter compassion is a complete and not freaking out awareness of where someone is. That is the utter compassion. Because think about it. Think about it. If there's the slightest discomfort as you look at where someone is, you've got nothing to give them. So utter compassion must be the okayness with where you are, the all rightness with where you are, because after all, it's temporary and it's the beginning of where you're going. Can you feel it? It's huge. It's the missing piece. It's the piece that medicine is looking for. It's the piece that everyone who's wanting to feel good is looking for. It's what's missing in relationships that aren't working. It's the piece. The okayness with what is, because it's so temporary. And because this blessed what is, produced this. And without this blessed what is, this expanded beingness, which is the promise of eternity, could not exist.
That's it. Thank you.
It's as good as it's ever been, but it's going to get better. You like being out here on the leading edge? You like knowing what the source within you knows? You've got it right now, don't you? You're going to hold it.